Have you ever wondered what it's like to discover that your husband is so ashamed of you that he brings another woman to your family gathering? I found out last Saturday when my sister-in-law called asking who the gorgeous blonde was that my husband had brought to our annual family reunion. The same reunion David told me not to attend because I wouldn't feel comfortable with my current weight. The same reunion where he told me I should stay home until I felt more confident again. My name is Rebecca, and this is the story of how my husband gravely underestimated the woman he married. A story about how sometimes the most devastating betrayals lead to the most empowering discoveries about yourself. Let's start from the beginning. 6 months ago, I had our daughter, Emma. Like many women who've just given birth, my body didn't immediately return to what it was before. I'm still carrying about 30 pounds of extra weight, and my confidence had taken a serious hit. Looking in the mirror had become an exercise in disappointment, and shopping for clothes felt like a form of torture. David, my husband of 8 years, initially seemed understanding. "Don't worry, love," he would say, wrapping his arms around me from behind as I stared critically at my reflection. "Your body did something incredible. It gave us our beautiful daughter." Those comforting words made me believe I had married a man who truly loved me unconditionally, regardless of my physical appearance. But as weeks turned into months, David's tone began to change. Subtly at first, then more obviously. The comforting comments became helpful observations delivered with increasing frequency. "Maybe you should try that diet your sister did. She lost all her baby weight in just 4 months. Did you see how Sarah got back in shape after her baby? She looks amazing now. I noticed there's a new fitness class at the community center, specifically for new moms." Most painful was how he started excluding me from social events, always with what seemed like thoughtful reasoning. First, work parties. "You probably wouldn't want to go anyway, considering how self-conscious you've been feeling about your appearance lately." Then, dinners with friends. "They're all very fitness-focused now. You might feel out of place until you're back to your old self." Then last Friday came the conversation about the annual Mitchell family reunion, a 20-year tradition at his parents' lake house. I love these reunions more than almost any other family event. They represent everything I cherish about being part of David's family. The warmth, the inclusion, the sense of belonging I never had growing up as an only child. "Rebecca, about this weekend's family reunion," David said, not quite meeting my eyes as he scrolled through his phone. "I've been thinking it might be better if you stayed home with Emma this time." Stayed home? Why? The question came out sharper than I intended, revealing my immediate hurt. "It's about you, Rebecca. You haven't been well lately. Emotionally, I mean. Always complaining about your clothes, always talking about your weight, always looking in the mirror with that disappointed expression. It's going to be a beach weekend with lots of swimming and outdoor activities. I just think you won't feel comfortable, and frankly, your mood might bring everyone else down." His words hit like physical blows. "I won't feel comfortable," or "you won't feel comfortable with me there." Look, you've been talking constantly about how none of your summer clothes fit anymore. You know how active my family is, hiking, beach volleyball, swimming. You'll feel left out and self-conscious, and then you'll be miserable, which will make everyone else uncomfortable. I'm trying to protect you from that embarrassment." "David, I'm an adult. I can decide for myself whether I want to go. Honestly, Rebecca, I think it would be better for everyone if you used this time to focus on getting back to your normal self. Maybe finally sign up for that gym membership, start that diet program you keep talking about. When you're feeling more like the woman I married, we can take a big family trip together." The woman I married. As if I had become someone else, someone lesser, someone unworthy of being seen in public with him. "I understand," I said quietly, feeling tears forming.
Don't get upset, love. It's just for one weekend. He made it sound like he was doing me a favor. That night, I lay awake feeling smaller than I had ever felt in my life. On Friday morning, David left early. Enjoy your relaxing weekend. I love you. I spent Friday in emotional numbness, caring for Emma, and trying not to think about the family gathering without me. Saturday around 2 p.m., my phone rang. Jennifer, my sister-in-law.
Rebecca, how are you? We missed you here. Hi, Jen. I'm fine. Didn't David tell you I'm staying home with Emma this time? Rebecca, Emma isn't here either. My stomach went cold. What do you mean? David is here, but he didn't bring Emma, and he brought someone. A woman. Blonde, very young, very fit. He introduced her as a friend from work, but they're not acting like just friends. What's her name? Melissa. Rebecca, where are you? Why didn't you come? David told me it would be better if I stayed home because I wouldn't feel comfortable with my current weight. Jennifer exploded. That bastard! You need to come here, now! You've been part of this family for 8 years. Jen, I can't just show up. After what David said about my weight? Rebecca, you're one of the most beautiful women I know. If my brother is too stupid to see that, that's his problem. But none of my nice clothes fit anymore. Do you remember that navy blue dress from Cousin Jake's wedding? The one David said you looked stunning in? Yes, but that definitely won't fit now. Have you tried? Go to your closet right now and try it on. I carried the phone to my room and opened my closet. Okay, I'm looking at it. Now, try it on. I managed to get the dress on. Then I looked in the mirror. The dress fit. Not perfectly, but it fit. And I still looked good. Jen, it fits. I knew it. David said you'd never fit in that dress again, didn't he? How do you know that? Because he told Mom you were too embarrassed about your weight to wear any of your nice clothes. He specifically mentioned that blue dress. David had lied about the reasons. He had told his family I was too embarrassed to show up. What time is dinner tonight? 7 o'clock. Because I'm going to be there, and don't tell anyone I'm coming. First, I needed childcare. I called my sister Sarah, trying to keep my voice steady despite the hurricane of emotions swirling inside me. Sarah, can you watch Emma for a few hours tonight? Something important has come up. Of course. I thought you were staying home while David was at the family reunion. Change of plans. I'm going to surprise him. The understatement of the century. Sarah arrived within 30 minutes, taking one look at me in the navy dress and breaking into a huge smile. Rebecca, you look absolutely stunning. That dress is gorgeous on you and you're practically glowing. David is going to be so surprised and happy to see you. Thank you, I said, accepting her compliment and storing it away like armor. I really needed to hear that today. Next, I focused on the finishing touches of my appearance. I hadn't put serious effort into getting ready in months, but tonight demanded perfection. I spent extra time on my makeup, choosing a bold red lipstick that made me feel powerful and confident. I styled my hair in loose waves that framed my face beautifully. I even took the time to paint my nails a deep navy that complemented the dress perfectly. The drive to the lake house took 45 minutes, and with each mile, I felt my resolve strengthening and my confidence building. I wasn't just going to surprise David. I was going to show everyone, including myself, that I refused to be erased from my own life by someone else's shame and manipulation. I arrived just as the sun was beginning to set, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange that reflected off the lake's calm surface. The lake house looked exactly as it always did during reunions, warm lights glowing from every window, the sound of familiar laughter and animated conversation drifting from the back deck, cars filling every available parking space along the winding driveway. I didn't go to the front door. Instead, I walked around to the back deck where everyone would be gathering for dinner, my heels clicking confidently on the stone pathway. And there they were, the entire Mitchell family, about 20 people gathering around tables overlooking the lake. But what I hadn't pictured was the blonde woman in a white sundress sitting in what should have been my chair next to my husband. When I stepped onto the deck, the silence was immediate and complete. 20 pairs of eyes turned toward me. David went completely white. Jennifer grinned, and Melissa looked confused. "Hello, everyone," I said, my voice carrying clearly. "Sorry I'm late. Traffic was terrible." The silence stretched for what felt like hours. I used those seconds to take in the scene. David frozen, Melissa looking confused, and the family trying to process what was happening. David's mother, Patricia, was the first to recover. "Rebecca!" she exclaimed, rushing toward me. "What a wonderful surprise! We weren't expecting. David said you couldn't make it." "Yes, well, plans change," I said, accepting her hug while keeping my eyes on David. I realized how much I missed being here. "You look absolutely beautiful, dear," Patricia said. "Doesn't she look wonderful, David?" David seemed to be having trouble forming words. Yes. Rebecca, what are you... How did you... How did I what, darling? How did I manage to fit into this dress, the one you said I'd never wear again?" It was Melissa who broke the tension by standing up and extending her hand. "Hi, I'm Melissa. I work with David. You must be a family friend." "Actually, I'm Rebecca, David's wife." The effect was instantaneous. Melissa's face went through confusion, realization, horror, and then anger. She dropped my hand and turned to David. "Your wife?" she said, her voice rising. "David, you told me you were divorced." "You told me what?" This came from Patricia, David's mother, who was known for her strong opinions and low tolerance for nonsense. "Melissa, I can explain," David said, finally finding his voice and standing up. "Explain what?" I asked, my voice sweet but with an edge. "Explain why you told your family I was too embarrassed about my weight to attend? Explain why you told Melissa you were divorced? Or explain why you brought your mistress to our family reunion while your wife stayed home with your baby?" The word mistress hung in the air like a bomb. Several family members gasped. "Rebecca, please, not here, not in front of everyone." "Why not here? These are our people, David. They deserve to know why I almost missed this reunion." "This is insane," Melissa said, grabbing her purse. "I'm not part of this." "Melissa, wait," David called after her. "Oh, no, you don't. You don't get to chase after your girlfriend while your wife is standing right here." "She's not my girlfriend," David said, automatically, then seemed to realize how ridiculous that sounded given the circumstances. "Really? Then what would you call a woman you bring as your date to family functions while lying to everyone about why your wife isn't there?" Patricia stepped forward. "Rebecca, dear, I think you should stay for dinner. We'd love to have you here where you belong." "What about David?" someone asked. Patricia looked at her son with complete disappointment. "David can decide whether he wants to apologize to his wife and try to salvage his marriage, or whether he wants to chase after his friend. But he can't do both." All eyes turned to David. This was his moment to choose, in front of his entire family. "I need to go explain things to Melissa," he said finally. The disappointment on his family's faces was immediate and crushing, but I felt relief. Finally, David had shown everyone exactly who he really was. "Then go," I said quietly. "But understand this. When you walk away from this deck, you're walking away from our marriage." He hesitated for a moment, then walked away. As David's footsteps faded into the house, an unusual silence settled over the deck. It was David's youngest cousin who broke the tension. "Well," she said loudly, "that was better than Netflix." The comment broke the spell, and suddenly everyone was talking at once. Patricia immediately put her arm around me, and Jennifer was pulling out her phone. "Rebecca," Patricia said firmly, "you sit right here." She gestured to the chair where Melissa had been sitting. "We're going to have dinner, and we're going to act like a family." For the next 3 hours, I was surrounded by people who had known me since I was 24. They shared stories, asked about Emma, complimented my dress, and made it clear that I would always have a place at their table. Around 10 p.m., my phone buzzed with a text from David. "Can we talk? Melissa left. I'm staying at a hotel tonight." I showed the text to Jennifer, who snorted. "Let me guess, his backup plan didn't work out?" I typed back, "You made your choice in front of your entire family. We can talk through lawyers." Patricia appeared beside me. "Rebecca, you're welcome to stay in the guest room tonight. I'd love to spend more time with you." "This whole situation must be so uncomfortable for you." "Rebecca, I've known you for 8 years. What I saw tonight wasn't the man Robert and I raised, but I'm proud of you. Standing up for yourself took strength." That night, I slept better than I had in months. I woke up knowing exactly who I was, a woman who deserved better than she had been accepted. 6 months later, I'm sitting in my new apartment watching Emma play with blocks on the living room floor. It's smaller than the house David and I shared, but it's mine. Every decision about this space was made by me, for me and my daughter. The divorce was finalized last month. David fought it initially, convinced that I would come to my senses and return to him. When that didn't happen, he tried guilt, then anger, then promises to change. Nothing worked because I had finally seen him clearly. The night of the family reunion changed everything. Not just because I discovered his affair, but because I remembered who I was before I let someone else's insecurities become my own. Melissa, as it turned out, was just as much a victim as I was. David had lied to her about being divorced. She actually reached out to me weeks later to apologize and share what she knew. It helped both of us understand the depth of his deception. I've lost 25 pounds. Not because David demanded it, but because I wanted to feel strong and healthy again. I joined a gym where trainers focus on what your body can do rather than how it looks. Most importantly, I've learned to trust my own voice again. When someone makes you feel small, the problem isn't your size, it's their character. David remarried 6 months ago, not Melissa, but another young woman from his office. I hear his new wife is already starting to look tired and less confident. Some patterns never change. But I've changed. I'm raising Emma to know her worth isn't determined by anyone else's approval. I'm dating someone who thinks I'm beautiful exactly as I am. And I still have that blue dress hanging in my closet as a reminder of the night I chose myself. The family reunion is next month. This time, I won't need anyone to call and ask where I am. I'll be exactly where I belong, at the table, in my own chair, surrounded by people who love me for who I am. Sometimes the best revenge isn't elaborate or dramatic. Sometimes it's simply showing up, taking up space, and refusing to let anyone convince you that you're not worthy of being seen. And sometimes the dress you thought you'd never fit in again becomes the armor you wear to reclaim your life. If this story shocked you, just wait for what's next. Leave a comment, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and of course, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss a single notification.